Hey guys, what's up? It's Sunny. This is a long overdue video. Today I'm going to be addressing all of the controversy that I have been involved in over on Instagram and TikTok over the past 2 years. If you are a follower of only my YouTube channel, you probably honestly had no idea that any of this was going down because it was pretty contained to Instagram and TikTok. I posted a video a couple weeks ago vaguely addressing some of the things people have concern about, and I took a month off to collect myself, and now I am here to lay everything out on the table, give my side of the story, and apologize. Normally I would try to memorize my script and recite it to you, but to get all of the facts and information correct, I am going to be reading directly off of my computer for the entirety of this video. Just know that this is a script that I wrote personally myself, and all of these words are coming from here, even if I am reading. Even if it does seem a little robotic because I am reading it off of a screen. My computer is right here, so if I'm looking this way, that is what I am looking at. The first thing I want to address is the volume of manga that I own called Yarachin Bitch Club. The main point of contention that started this whole thing was Yarachin Bichibu. I'm not going to get into what this manga is in this video. I have an entire video essay about this manga already up on my channel that I will link in the description. I want to start off by saying that I'm sorry if showing the cover of this manga in any of my content on Instagram Reels or TikTok was harmful or triggering to anyone. I purchased this manga as a joke in 2023 while in Japan. One single volume. I knew it was a meme from TikTok from 2020, and I bought it in a thrift store hours before my flight home to use up my extra yen. I will state now, however, that me owning one volume of this manga does not make me a child predator. It does not mean I am sexually attracted to children, teens, or minors of any kind. I will further state that I have never touched a child in that way, in any way. I never have, and I never will. I have also never groomed a child. I have never consumed child porn. I have also never consumed any type of media that would be considered children or lolly. These are all allegations that have been made against me because I own one volume of YBC. I have stated many times on my social media that I have not read the series. I have watched the 2-episode anime at some point. I can't remember when, I just know that I have seen it. Although I have personal beliefs about fiction, I understand that not everyone shares the same beliefs that I have. I will, however, stand up for myself in this matter of people swearing that YBC is child pornography and that I am committing a crime for owning it. It is not illegal material in any way, shape, or form. It is not child. It does not contain images depicting real children performing sexual acts. The proof alone is that this manga is sold, all English volumes that are out so far, at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and many brick-and-mortar manga retailers in the United States. As well as the anime is not blocked from being viewed in the United States. You can dislike this type of NSFW media, but you cannot say that it is child porn, because it is not. The next thing I want to address is my identity as a Fujoshi online, and in turn being accused of fetishizing gay men because of this. Another major thing that I have been criticized online for in recent years outside of just owning YBC is the fact that I often will call myself a Fujoshi and make content about BL or yaoi manga and anime on my social media. Any hate I have received for being a Fujoshi is frankly uncalled for. BL manga exists because there is an audience for it. BL is just like any other romance genre in fictional media. It is written to be enjoyed, and I have no shame in openly saying that I enjoy reading and consuming BL. The major point that has been brought to my attention is that people think my liking of BL means that I fetishize gay men in real life. That I fetishize them because of the books I read in my personal/private life. I will start by clarifying I do not read BL for any sexual reasons. I don't know how to say this on YouTube. I do not put my hands on my body in any impure way when I read these stories. I'm sorry, hold on. That was not on my becoming an influencer bingo card. This is not one of the serious points, is me liking BL, so it's, pardon me if that was a little ridiculous to have to say to 100,000 plus subscribers on my YouTube channel. Anyways, I simply enjoy the alternative outlook on romance, especially when it comes to romance in Japanese fictional media. That being said, and having openly talked about on my social media that I am confused as to why people were saying I was fetishizing gay men because of reading BL. To try and understand where people were coming from more, I looked up the definition of fetishize, and it states two different meanings. Number one is to make something the object of sexual fetish, and number two, to have an excess and irrational commitment or an obsession to something. As already stated per the first definition, I do not look at BL in that sort of way. I personally prefer BL that is more romance-based rather than hypersexual. However, I won't deny of having read more NSFW BL. However, I want to remind you that that is not a crime. Adults can read NSFW media, and them doing so is not a means for you to send them endless harassment and hate. Second definition there, I think, is where the issue formed me, the excess and irrational commitment part. My niche on Instagram, meaning the content I make, and the audience my content is directed towards for most of 2023 and 2024 was anime fans, mainly those who also liked BL. I would also like to note that during 2023 and most of 2024, I did post 1 to 2 times daily on Instagram Reels and more on TikTok. This I could see would seem like an obsession and unhealthy commitment to BL. However, I would like to point out that what I post on Instagram is not my entire life. While posting BL content on Reels for the last 2 years, I have posted content about a lot of other things on my other social media that I do not have focused on my niche. To say that I'm fetishizing real gay men because I post a video about a very popular romance genre, in my eyes, is frankly absurd. There have been 0 instances of me ever being weird or offensive to any real gay men. I have never stated that what happens on the pages of the books I enjoy are representative of any real life experience of what gay men are like. I have never pushed anything I've read onto the gay male community, and I will never do that. This is not in my script, but I reached out to a commentary Instagram account that's dedicated to me and asked them to read over this and see if I was missing something, and they mentioned a story post that I made in 2023 where I asked the question of why it seems like the most people angry at me for enjoying BL is trans gay men. Single story I made simply inquiring about why that possibly was, trying to get some insight from the trans gay followers that I had into why they might possibly think other people in their community are very possessive over BL, more possessive than cis gay men in my observation, and this has turned into people on Instagram spouting in my comment section that I am transphobic. There was nothing ill-willed against trans people in that story. I was simply not a trans man asking questions from trans men, and I think that trying to educate myself on why a certain group of people is as passionate about a thing that I'm passionate about is not wrong. I've never said anything against the trans community, so calling me transphobic is honestly ridiculous. And if you follow me on social media, there's so many reasons why calling me transphobic is ridiculous. Back to the script. To say that I fetishize gay men because of the manga and cartoons I read and watch is a reach. Saying that because I identify as a Fujoshi, which, if you're unclear, is the reclaimed name that people who are into BL/the BL fandom use online to self-identify. Nothing more. It feels like people saying that I fetishize gay men because I read BL is putting a hypersexual identity on me, which honestly makes me really disturbed and uncomfortable that people would look at me in that light and come to the conclusion about me or even think about me in that way when I'm not posting any content that would allude to anything hypersexual or along those means. Calling myself a Fujoshi is the same as someone who likes anime calling themselves a nerd. It's harmless, reclaimed, once insult turned online identifier. It has no deep meaning. It is not a cult. It is simply a label. Labels are used to easily express something to another person in a fast, easy, and concise way. That is all calling myself a Fujoshi means. Next, I'm going to address the people in my comments that are angry about me identifying as pro-ship and the posts that I post on my Tumblr. In the same scope, I've been called out for being pro-ship. If you don't know what that means, it's basically a term used online in mostly fandom spaces that by definition means you are for shipping. It's as simple as that. Think shipping is okay. You don't police the way people interact in fandom with characters. The term ship and let ship is common in the pro-ship community, simply meaning that we let people ship what they want, how they want, write fanfic of what they want, and if you see something you don't like in an online fandom space, you simply don't engage and ignore. This belief is held because we believe that shipping is harmless and it should not be policed. However, there are a lot of people online who believe that being pro-ship means that you like to read fanfic about pedophilia, cannibalism, and extreme kink, etc., etc. This isn't the case. This is an extremist viewpoint. Do these things occur in fiction? Yes. These things also occur in fandom spaces within the confines of fiction. Yes. Being pro-ship simply just means you don't think people should be harassed and sent threats for writing fanfic with dark topics. these things included. There's no exclusion in being pro-ship. You simply let people do what they want with fiction, with the creative outlet they are choosing to take part in. A big misunderstanding that people in my comments seem to have is that me being pro-ship means I actively engage in those things in the fan fiction that I read. I will put on the record now that I do not. I am simply pro-ship because, as I see it, before 2020, everyone in fandom was pro-ship by default. We let people have an online space to create whatever, even if the media is something we personally don't like or find odd or weird or disturbing. I did not become pro-ship one day. You don't become pro-ship. Fandom community online, I believe, simply shifted, and purity culture has been pushed into a space that was once held with creative freedom in mind. If you dislike my views on fiction, I will simply say, have you read Twilight? Have you read The Hunger Games or seen the movies? If so, you are pro-ship. You are pro-fiction. Because the opposite of that, I believe, is the total and complete censorship of media as we know it today. This is another unserious one, so pardon me if I cannot keep a straight face through this one. I want to address the issues people have with me shipping BakuDeku or Bakugo Katsuki and Midoriya Izuku from My Hero Academia. On the same lines, I have to address the one ship... Bro, calm down. Calm down. This is an apology video where there's a section about BakuDeku. What is my life? Okay. On the same lines, I have to address the one ship I have been very public about liking, BKDK or BakuDeku, is a ship of two characters from My Hero Academia. It is a gay male ship between these two characters who in the anime and manga up until a few months ago were minors. This ship is greatly hated and criticized online for, in my opinion, no good reason. Shipping culture has gotten very hostile in the last few years, and BakuDeku, being a very popular ship from one of the most popular animes, has unfortunately been unfairly criticized, and in turn, people who enjoy it have been ridiculed. I will be honest, I do read fanfic with these two characters. That is what I mean when I say I ship them, obviously. I cannot say I have ever purposefully looked up NSFW fanfic about these two with the intent of reading them engaging in anything sexual if they were underage, but fanfic is just that. It's fiction that's written by fans for fans, and it's entirely impossible to avoid such things. Anyone who says that they are deep into fandom culture and AO3 and read fanfics and says they have never read a fanfic where BakuDeku engage in any sort of way that way while they are still students at UA, they are lying. Some fanfics tick all the boxes of the fic you're looking for, and you simply read and move on and don't think too much of it. That being said, I personally don't really read smut on AO3. I make jokes about it on Reels because I will admit it's relatable. AO3, Archive of Our Own, if you don't know, is an archive website for fanfic. It has a lot of actual content of every and any ship you can think of. As stated before, I don't feel the need to have sexual content in my fiction to find it enjoyable, but if it's there, I'm not going to not read it. It's not a major ick for me. I simply just don't go out of my way to find sexual fics of any of the ships that I hold. At the end of the day, Bakugo and Izuku are not real. Any fiction written about them that is sexual is not harming anyone. It's not harming any kids because these characters do not exist. Nobody is forcing anyone to read any NSFW material of them, nor is anyone who reads fanfic that contains smut of them, aged up or otherwise, condoning that doing that is okay in real life, nor does it mean that those people want to see real minors engaging in that way. I have never posted on my social media anything sexual about these characters in reference to when they are minors. Whenever I say I ship BakuDeku, people automatically assume I'm talking about reading the most graphic sexual content that exists inside the fandom, and once again, I find it very uncomfortable that people make such assumptions about me when talking about something that is not inherently sexual. Shipping isn't inherently sexual. It simply means that one sees two characters and thinks the idea of them dating would be nice, cute, and cool. It's not harming anyone, and yet I have received hundreds and thousands of death threats because I enjoy this ship. It is completely uncalled for and utterly ridiculous, and things have escalated to a point of insanity. I am going to put a trigger warning at this part in the video. I'm going to be briefly talking about graphic war crimes that Japan has committed in the past. If this is a sensitive topic to you, I will put a timestamp in the description for you to skip if you do not want to hear about that right now, or if you want to come back later and watch it at a different time when you're in the right mindset. I'm now going to address the comments I have made about Unit 731. Speaking of threats, my comment section on Instagram Reels has been an absolute cesspool since early 2023. And I'm not inflating this number or over-exaggerating this number. At times, over hundreds of thousands of threatening and harassing comments on a daily basis, as in the 100,000s plus, 200, 300, 400,000s plus at the peak of my come up on Instagram Reels. Besides my content being about anime and manga, I also make content about Japan and traveling to Japan and my overall interest in Japan as part of my niche. Because of this, because I post positive content surrounding Japan, there was a point in time that it became a trend to comment about the bad things Japan has done, because people assume because on my social media I post positive things about Japan that I think Japan as a country is superior and has done no wrongdoings in history. That is obviously not the case, and just a blatantly weird assumption to make about someone. I simply do not think it would be very productive to post a reel every day in contrast to my typical Japan-centered content, pointing out the unsavory parts of Japanese history, as well as quite weird to do so if I was to do that. I am not a history content creator, and I have stated on my social media multiple times that I actually dislike history. As weird as that sounds, I have zero passion for learning about it, talking about it, or thinking about it. I did my coursework in school, but past that, I have zero interest in my personal life, investing more time in studying history. I would also like to point out that I do have the right to not post about war crimes on my social media, as it is my social media and I can post what I want and don't want. On top of, frankly, just not wanting to post content like that, a lack of interest in history, I believe, would make me not even qualified or knowledgeable enough to even make a sort of video about that would even begin to encompass the scope of the history of the stuff Japan has done. I simply don't know enough about it. I'm admitting I am ignorant on this subject, and I would not feel comfortable making videos about it like people have asked me to. I also do not think that any content creator who makes content about Japan is obligated in any way, shape, or form to ever make a video talking about the bad stuff that Japan has done. It is a very weird thing to push on content creators that are just talking about a place that they like to travel to. All that being said, and me stating that I personally don't like making content about history, that being said, people in my comments made it a trend at some point about Unit 731. If you don't know at all what that is, I invite you to Google it, but viewer discretion is advised. The instance I'm addressing right now in this video is when someone on a video, mind you, that I was not talking about Japan specifically. I was not talking about war of any kind. I was not bringing up anything to do with Japan and Japan's history, nor was I necessarily saying anything super positive or pointing out any of the great parts about Japan. Someone felt that it was completely appropriate to comment on a fashion video or anime video, something of the sorts, graphic war crimes that Japan committed against women. This comment was one in the sea of hundreds of thousands of hate comments I was getting, and not even the first of its kind, was specifically referring to Unit 731 in my comments that day. I was being harassed with these type of comments, and I can only block and report so many people without going insane. In a lapse of judgment, and understandably in a very fragile mental state from being harassed by what felt like the entire internet, I replied to this comment in a way I thought was a way to show them how their comment felt upon reading it. In my eyes, commenting on a video of me showing off my dresses from a Japanese brand, a list of graphic war crimes, is the most outlandish thing someone could do. It left me honestly disgusted, and it was just inappropriate. You cannot justify someone commenting this on a person's Instagram, on a completely unrelated reel. So I replied with a single word. You can tell by the comment there was not much effort or thought that was put into it. It was just simply me replying to a comment among the thousands of threats that I had read that day. I said, kinky, in reply to this comment. I was baited. I see now that the original comment was rage bait. They did not want me to comment on these things in their comment in a serious matter. In fact, they probably sensed that from the way I actively had been avoiding commenting on Unit 731 publicly, that I did not know a lot about it, and in fact, I still don't. I do not feel the need to look into more than the base level knowledge I have of it. They wanted me to say something stupid, and I did. I should not have replied to such serious crimes with such a childish reply, and I am sorry for that. Easy for people looking in to say that I should have just deleted the comment and not said anything, but from my view, you have to see that this wasn't just one comment. It was one among many, many others, and one can only stay silent and take so much. I am sorry to any families of victims of these horrific crimes that saw my response and were angered by it, but I also invite those people to see the original commented used your family's grief to try and get a rise out of an influencer who they simply dislike or have differing opinions with. Both parties here are in the wrong, and at the end of the day, it was 2 comments on a reel that was unimportant. I will still apologize for my actions in handling the situation, but the hate and threats I have received and still am receiving to this day over this comment are too much. I would also like to address that I have memory of myself commenting back to people who have brought this up, mentioned that I said that in response to someone mentioning Unit 7031, and I have said things along the lines of, and I'd do it again, and womp womp, and other immature responses. There are screenshots floating around if you are really into this whole drama. This is a simple and physical example of the overwhelm I've experienced from reading my own comments and simply just trying to take back any control I have. Trying to seem unbothered while being so completely overwhelmed and deeply bothered by everything I am reading. That's not an excuse, but I hope you can see it from my point of view. If my entire comment section is rage bait, at some point I fell into the if you can't beat them, join them mentality. I am currently working on practicing not engaging and feeling the need to defend myself against trolls online. While I probably won't be perfect moving forward, and I already know that I have not been perfect because I have been engaging with trolls on TikTok, I've just been trying to engage with them in a different way. I am trying. And I never say anything with the intention of hurting people. This is a biggin. I'm now going to address the Asian fishing allegations that have been made against me. This is the second largest thing that people have called me out for, but that being said, it is the thing I have the least to say about. The allegations I've seen is that I tape my eyes back to appear Asian, that I squint my eyes to appear Asian, and that my mannerisms and how I dress and do my makeup is all to appear or trick people into thinking I am of Asian descent. All of these things are completely and 100% false. I have never taped my eyes back nor squinted my eyes in any way, especially with the intention of looking Asian. I have never taped my eyes back, period. If my eyes squint in any way in any of my videos, it's simply a natural facial expression. I have never had the thought process that I'm going to squint in a video, filming a reel, or vlogging to look Asian. And the fact that people think that the way I look and move in videos is that calculated, that in every single piece of content I've made, I am purposefully squinting my eyes to give them the almond shape that they naturally have, is honestly ridiculous. I will say this once and I will say it again. I am not a cartoon supervillain. I feel the same about the people that are saying my mannerisms are similar to Asian people. That is weird. I've seen people say that I try to move my mouth when I talk like an Asian person. I am not even sure what those comments are even saying, and it feels kind of wrong for them to say that all Asian people move their mouth the same way, but I can assure you that is not the case. My mouth moves the way it does because I had braces for 7 years without getting a single tightening jaw adjustment, and there's some bad stuff going in there. So my mouth moves weird. If anything, I have to make the active decision to open my mouth when I talk. If you watch my older videos, I usually talked with my mouth like really closed like this and I didn't even open it. It's because I have a weird jaw and I probably need to get it fixed. But that's for another video. When it comes to my clothes, I simply wear Japanese fashion on a regular basis, and I can't believe I have to explain this in 2024, but wearing clothes that Asian people also wear does not mean I'm trying to pretend to be Asian. It means that I simply like those clothes, just like the Asian people you've seen wearing them also like those clothes. Asian people do not look Asian because of the makeup they wear. They are just Asian. I do not look Asian because I do makeup with popular Asian makeup techniques. Aegyo-sal, the eye bag makeup, is not Asian fishing. It's simply a makeup trend you see a lot of Asian people do, and you might associate that feature with Asian people, but it is just because a lot of Asian people do create that effect with makeup. It is a natural feature that anyone can or cannot have. Aegyo-sal is not only an Asian feature. Anyone can have it, and in turn, anyone can mimic that feature with makeup. It is the same thing as doing fake freckles. It is not appropriating ginger culture to do fake freckles. It is not appropriating Asian culture to do aegyo-sal. People tend to think that I elongate my eyes with makeup to appear Asian. This isn't the case. If my eyes ever seemed elongated in makeup, it was simply dolly makeup, which is more of a downturn extending of the eyes to give that more like doll-like appearance. I have never done my makeup with the mental or physical intent to make my eyes longer and smaller. My eyes are already small. Possibly this is why Asian makeup looked more like how it does on Asian people on me, but did you ever stop to think that the reason why I prefer Asian makeup techniques on my eyes is because I have hooded eyes, and it's a style that suits my natural eye shape the best. Once again, hooded eyes, do a lot of Asian people have it? Yes. Is it a strictly Asian feature? No. Anyone can have hooded eyes. I will end this by simply saying that I have filmed reels with clip-on fake bangs on. I have bangs that I wear because I love the look of bangs, but personally, I don't cut them because of sensory issues. But I have filmed reels wearing my normal makeup that is using Asian beauty techniques, wearing my bangs, and then on the exact same day with the exact same makeup, I've taken off the bangs for sensory issues and continue filming. And people have commented on the reels where I have the bangs on that I'm Asian fishing. And then on reels I filmed on the same day with the same makeup, just no bangs. People have made comments about how I look so white and my eyes are finally open here. So is it really my makeup? Am I really changing my features to look Asian with my makeup? Are people just making an unfair connection and harassing me because of their inability to see Asian people for anything other than their actual features and are just reducing them to their clothes, makeup, and popular hairstyles? At the end of the day, if you look at me and you think I look Asian, okay, I personally do not look in the mirror and think that I look Asian. I think that I look like me. You are seeing me through a camera lens. You are not seeing me in real life. You do not know what I look like as a 3D human being. And honestly, the word Asian fishing is thrown around so much nowadays that literally anyone that does any alternative style makeup that has eyeliner at some point is being called an Asian fisher. I don't even wear eyeliner and I get called an Asian fisher. I do not wear more makeup normally than like a fake lash, some mascara and blush and a little glitter. I do no crazy makeup like cosplayers, and I still get called an Asian fisher, which is ridiculous because, you know, there are actual Asian fishers and they really change their features up crazily with makeup, which I don't do. So I just personally think that the shoe doesn't fit. I'm now going to address some lies that have been told about me, starting with a GoFundMe scam. This one is ridiculous. I don't even want to address this because it is 100% false allegation, but it is being spread about so much that I must. People online are saying that I created a GoFundMe for my dog or a sick family member. Honestly, it's a game of telephone, so who I created this so-called GoFundMe for changes every single time someone comments about it because it's all not real. But they are saying that I use those funds that I earned from it to travel to Japan. I don't know why people came up with this lie when it's so easily debunkable, but I digress. I actually already posted an Instagram reel debunking this a couple days ago because I'd had enough of it, and all of the receipts are in that video, but I will also put them in this video. The GoFundMe in question is from 2020. My dog was paralyzed and needed a lot of vet assistance. I raised around $1,000 from it, and the money went to my dog's vet needs. If you were around at the time, I heavily documented all of this on my Instagram. There are a lot of ways I can debunk the theory that I took the money from this GoFundMe to travel to Japan, but let's start with the obvious. I did not go to Japan in 2020. In fact, Japan was not even allowing foreigners in. Tourism visas did not exist. It was, in fact, the 2020 COVID lockdown. Japan was closed for all outside travel. Physically was not even allowed in the country that I supposedly spent all this money on to go there. Number two, which is, I think people are mixing up dates. I had been in Japan an exact year earlier in 2019. Yeah. A year before that, I was in Japan, a year before the GoFundMe ever existed. So there was no way for those funds to be used to fund that Japan trip because it happened before that GoFundMe ever existed, before Buddy was ever paralyzed and diagnosed with IBDD. There was also another GoFundMe that I was associated with, and I think that what happened is people took the Buddy GoFundMe and this, and they mushed it together once again in a game of unsuccessful telephone, and it came up with the lie. But the day before I left for Japan in 2023, I was featured on my local news because my mom raised over $10,000 on a GoFundMe for an unhoused individual in our town who was the victim of a hit and run. I did the interview because my mom does not live in our town and the news wanted to do it in front of this person's public memorial. I helped my mom with the GoFundMe, as in I showed her how to use the website and I assist her in signing up. Other than that, I did not do any of the fundraising. This was something that was completely for my mom to do on her own. She just needed technical help, and as the token influencer of the family, I'm who everyone comes to for technical help. But that was as far as my involvement went. I was already in Japan, aka I had already bought in and used my ticket and booked all of the things that I did in Japan before the money was even cashed out of this GoFundMe. There's also lots of public records of the very large and expensive memorial that my mom put on with the GoFundMe funds in collaboration with the woman's family. So yeah, none of that money was me. That was just my mom doing something nice for a family that was in need. And it's kind of so sucky that people are trying to say that I scammed that in any way, shape, or form. There's also a third thing that completely is just a misunderstanding, but I figured since I'm doing this video, I will address this too. When I came back from Japan in 2023, 3 months after the aforementioned GoFundMe my mom did, I came home to a $1,000 plus electric bill and no power. This was known to me, however. I knew when I was in Japan that I had lost power. My dad had called me and told me, and we were very shocked, but I was in another country. What was I going to do? Obviously, when you're on a big trip and already spending a bunch of money, though, a $1,000 electric bill would throw anyone for the loop. It would literally throw anyone for the loop. Being said, it's a crazy situation, and I was making a lot of jokes about it on social media. The situation was hard, and I was coping with humor. I was, in fact, living without electricity for a while, which is hard for anyone to do. I made a video joking about people sending me money on Venmo, which was a TikTok trend at the time. People on TikTok were posting TikToks with on-screen captions being like, if everyone who saw this sent me $1, I could buy every single flavor of ice cream and mix them together. It was actually happening on TikTok. People were being sent money on Venmo for these silly, arbitrary things so that they could make TikTok content. Instagram did not know of this trend yet when I made it. I guess I'm just ahead of the trends, or maybe Instagram Reels is painfully behind trends. But this gained me the false reputation of being an e-beggar, so that's lovely. I will say though, like, I wasn't being unserious. Like, I would have gladly accepted people Venmoing me because I was miserable not having power. Not having electricity, not fun. No, I needed the money. Traveling, I'm not rich. Traveling to Japan does hurt me financially, but it doesn't hurt me financially to the point of, like, you know, where it's irresponsible for me to go. It simply makes me have a less comfortable financial situation for a little bit while I recover afterwards, and having to pay such a large bill, I honestly think would hurt anyone my age, to be honest. And it's weird that just because I make videos on social media that people think that I am unable to have financial struggles. Anyways, a few people did Venmo me from this, I won't lie, but it was like $30, and people who sent it to me told me, like, to just go get a good warm meal and take care of myself, and just, like, was thanking me for making entertaining content. It was long time viewers or mutuals on social media. Thank you to those people, by the way. It made a really hard time a little bit better. Thank you. In the end, my bill did get paid, obviously. Hello, I have electricity. I made a reel or a story or a post, I can't remember. I basically said something along the lines of, my social media paid my $1,000 electric bill. And I think people think that that meant that people actually Venmo'd me $1,000, which, by the way, would not be a crime if people Venmo'd me $1,000 because I asked. They would be doing that of their own free will. But that's not the case. I will put a screenshot of my payout from Reels bonuses when this was going on. I went viral and got a 12 million view reel about the weight I lost in Japan, and I got a $1,200 paycheck from Meta from basically that single video, and I paid my electric bill in full with that. I paid it with money that I rightfully earned from the views that I got on social media, not a penny from any single fan that I e-begged for. It wasn't money from a GoFundMe from over 3 years ago. It wasn't money from a GoFundMe that I didn't even make. So no, I didn't scam people with a GoFundMe. This is honestly just a crazy rumor going around about me. Honestly, I'm popular enough in social media for people to make up blatant lies about me. I see this as as a win for my dedication to becoming an influencer. Anyways, that was a joke, by the way. Next, I want to address the doxing allegations. This is also something I will touch on briefly because there is no basis to it. Some tweets of mine resurfaced. Would this be like an addressing all video if tweets resurfacing wasn't a thing that had to be mentioned? Oh my god, I'm the caricature of an influencer right now. This feels surreal. Anyways, some tweets of mine resurfaced from back in the day where I was definitely rage tweeting about an experience that I had just had at that time on Facebook Marketplace. I do not remember really the circumstances around these tweets. I just know that from context of reading them and the vague memory I have that I was scammed on Facebook Marketplace by someone. The tweets that I tweeted consisted of me basically saying that I found the girl who scammed me on Facebook Marketplace on her public LinkedIn page, and I simply tweeted a thread that included her full name from her public LinkedIn page. That is public knowledge that anyone can look at and pull up on the internet. I posted these tweets in hopes online because I did have a lot of followers on Twitter at the time that when people searched up her first and last name, aka people trying to hire her, that the employers would see my tweet about her scamming people and it would, be a little revenge and give her a taste of her own medicine that being a bad person has consequences. Should I have been playing job hunting God as a teenager on Twitter? No, but I mean, teenagers do dumb stuff all the time. This is not doxing, however. This person publicly had their first and last name on the internet, not only on the LinkedIn that I did search out outside of Facebook Marketplace, but on Facebook as well. I did not know how people think I found her LinkedIn if I didn't already have her first and last name and it wasn't already on the internet. I think I also tweeted what university she went to, but that was also public information on her public social media pages, her LinkedIn, and her Facebook. I will state I did not share this girl's address. I do not know her address. I did not share her phone number. I do not know her phone number. The only information that I tweeted was public information that she herself had already posted online of her free will. That is not what doxing is. Secondly, people like to say that I dox minors regularly on Instagram Reels. This is simply not the case. I have stated on my social media that when I receive a particularly outlandish hate comment or threat from a person that has their high school in their bio or is clearly a high school aged or a minor, I will reach out to their school and send screenshots of this person sending me death threats, threatening my life online, in hopes that someone in their real life will teach them and tell them that's okay, because that's not my job. It is their parents and their educators and people in power that should be teaching them that they shouldn't send death threats to strangers online. I'm simply doing what I feel is the right level of my due diligence as an adult seeing something unjust happening online. If I can't find a way to contact their administration, I have contacted people's mothers on Facebook and sent them screenshots of what their child is doing in hopes that they will learn somehow that what they are doing is not okay. Never on my story have I ever posted someone's school or posted someone's mom or posted any personal information of my haters. I have simply stated that this is something that I often do to try and maybe scare the children who watch my story or see the post on social media or see this post on social media to hopefully stop them from commenting stuff that is harmful because it can have real life implications. I am simply doing the little I can to try and teach people a slight bit of online safety. I have also seen people have issue with me making joke, funny videos, replying to comments that people have left about me. These people sometimes are minors, sometimes they don't have their age listed on their profile at all, and then later add it to their bio after I make the video to make it seem like I'm attacking a poor, helpless minor. But I can say I've never made a video response of someone who hasn't already been attacking me in my comments. And people have issue with me posting on my social media pictures of minors as if the photos do not already exist on this person's social media account. I simply clicked on the comment of them telling me not to be alive or threatening me or being mean to me in some way, went on their profile, and then made a silly joke about them that definitely was less harmful than them telling me whatever they've commented on my page that made me feel the need to retaliate. Newsflash, being a minor does not make you inept from having people clap back at you for your bad actions. I know that a lot of people think that being a minor is like a get out of jail free card. It isn't. If you tell someone to end their life on social media, your actions have consequences. And you're honestly lucky that it's me just making a stupid joke about your acne on my social media and not you getting arrested for publicly defaming someone. Also, when you post a photo of yourself on social media and your account is public, those photos are for anyone to do anything that they want with them. I can screenshot them and legally put them on my social media in response to a comment you left. I can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the same thing as when a YouTuber does a Q&A video and they put a screenshot of a comment in a Q&A video, or when YouTubers ask their fans to send them videos to put in their videos. It's the same thing. There's nothing wrong with it. I've never done anything weird or creepy or that would be crossing any boundaries with any of these people that follow me. Back onto doxing though. Doxing, however, is what has been done to me in my comment section. My full address, my full first and last name have been commented many of times in the comments over all of my social medias over the past 2 years. I have never obviously made my entire address public knowledge, because why would I do that? And yet people who hate me for all of the aforementioned things have gone onto those sketchy websites, paid the $5.99 to access all of my information that data brokers have stolen and posted online. And they have then shared that private information in the comments of my Instagram, of my TikTok, in a Google Doc that's being spread around, in the comments where people are actively threatening my life on a daily basis. That is doxing. That is directly putting my personal information out there and putting me in a direct line of harm. I have never done that to someone, and yet hundreds and thousands of people in my comments are swearing up and down that I did. And honestly, I find it quite offensive that as someone who is actively being doxed, being accused of doxing, have you no sympathy? Have you no empathy? I just want to take the end of this video to talk about something more lighthearted, just to end it off on a better note. For my own mental sanity and for you guys watching this, I'd hate for you to leave this video feeling super icky. So yeah, if you've seen a YouTube video, a commentary YouTube video popping up around about Itabags recently, or if you've seen a single Instagram reel or TikTok about Itabags that are unnecessarily hostile, that's because of me, and I'm sorry for infiltrating everyone's feeds with Itabag content suddenly. Actually, no, I'm not sorry, because Itabags are sick. But yeah, I accidentally angered people, and genuinely, like normally when I post something online that people get angry about, I do have a little bit of, forefront that I'm posting something controversial. This time I had no idea. This whole situation completely slipped out of my hands, and if you guys want me to do a full video about Itabag Gate, I will. But let me just say this, I'm allowed to think that a certain style of Itabag is ugly and not personally want to own them or not personally want to create them, and that does not make me an Itabag elitist. It simply means that I have a personal sense of style and a personal aesthetic that I like to stick to when it comes to my Itabags. I have never shamed someone for their Itabags. I have simply just stated my opinion on the overall genre of bags, and also my controversy included me saying that certain Itabags are a scam. I'm allowed to think that a product that someone's selling is not worth what they are selling it for. That is in my right as a human with free will. That is in my right to think that, and it's also in my right to post about it on social media. You might not think it's a scam. That's your opinion. I think that an Itabag that is this big is $60 and holds 3 enamel pins is an insult. This camera died, so we're switching over to you. Number one, it's an insult to Itabags in general, the Itabag community, because that's not an Itabag. And number two, I don't like people getting taken advantage of by people not in the Itagbag community that make an Itagbag as a cash grab to sell at cons. This was all just a crazy thing that happened, and personally I just think it's a little bit crazy that the hate that I'm getting for saying that I don't like enamel pins is the same as the hate I've gotten for every single thing that I've listed previously, because it's truly not that deep. I don't know if I used this camera angle at all through this entire video, so if that was just me suddenly like breaking the fourth wall to this camera and that freaked you out, sorry. But anyways, that is my apology video. This is the start of a new era for me on social media, and I look forward to it. If you subscribe to me from this video, that's a little weird, but I hope you enjoy my content going forward. Please follow my Instagram and TikTok. If you are a longtime supporter of me on YouTube, I could use your nice comments there, because frankly, this video is not going to change the hate that I get on Instagram. I'm not expecting it to. This is just for the small amount of people that might watch this video, and it might actually change their mind. The people that are just confused about what all this is and don't really understand what all of these weird things being said about me stemmed from. So yeah, thanks for watching. I honestly feel really weird talking to a camera that's like 400 feet away, so the walk of shame to go turn off this camera. Thanks for watching. Bye.